My friends, let's talk about pornography. No, I don't mean like that. I mean, they're doing some very, very good things with pornography. No, I don't mean it that way. Come on, cut me some slack. This is Howard Riell. The show's Real Truth. You know, I don't get into that stuff. But there is good news about pornography, oddly enough. It comes from the Independent over in England. I quote, "The United Kingdom's porn ban will go into effect in July," the government has announced. "After July 15th, all internet users will have to be forced to prove themselves to be over 18 or be entirely blocked from seeing adult content. Under the new rules, any commercial provider of online pornography will have to carry out, quote, robust age verification checks on users, unquote, to ensure that they are adults. Those checks could include having internet users enter personal details into a privately owned database or buying a pass from newsagents. There will be a number of different ways for people to prove their age," the government said, "all of which will be rigorous and are not simply typing in a date of birth or ticking a box," unquote. My friends, let me be very clear here. I don't advise people to look at pornography online. I don't think it's a good thing to do. I wouldn't advise anybody to do it, but let's also be real. People are going to do it. Like it or not, humans will do it. The unconscionable part is allowing minors to see it. Kids aren't ready for it. They can't handle it. They can't process it. It's destructive. It hurts them for the long term. It should never, ever happen if we can avoid it. And I tip my hat. If you're watching on video, you say I'm tipping my hat. I tip my hat to the authorities in the UK. And, you know, as a journalist now for 4 decades, I'm a free speech advocate. But more than I advocate free speech and freedom of expression, I advocate protecting children. And so I applaud what they're doing, and I hope that this will be coming to the United States. Like I said, when it comes to looking at porn online, people are going to do it whether we like it or not. Making it impossible for kids to see it is a very, very worthy goal. Let's get started. Item from the Hill. Presidential hopeful Pete Buttigieg was recently confronted by 2 protesters shouting about the biblical cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. 2 protesters interrupted Buttigieg, who's openly gay, during a speech in Fort Dodge, Iowa, shouting about the 2 cities that the Bible says were destroyed by what it called sinful acts, including sodomy. They were both quickly shouted down by a crowd of 1,650 people chanting the South Bend, Indiana mayor's name and escorted out of the area by security. Buttigieg's sexual orientation has been thrust into the spotlight in recent days as he feuds with Vice President Pence over the former Indiana governor's stances on the LGBTQ community. He was particularly critical of a 2015 law Pence signed that allowed businesses to use religious liberty as a defense if they believed the government was infringing on their exercise of religion. Critics said the law would allow businesses to discriminate against the LGBTQ community. Unquote. My friends, the Bible discriminates against the LGBTQ community. Let's be honest. You know, this show is called Real Truth, and that's what we deal in. The real, honest-to-goodness truth. The truth is the Bible refers to homosexuality as an abomination. That's a pretty strong word. It uses the same word to describe idol worship that involves sacrificing children. The Bible refers to homosexuality as an abomination and says punishable by death. So the simple-minded among us will say, "Oh, real? You want to go around killing gays?" No, I don't. But I know as an Orthodox Jew that the Bible comes from God. I also know that God's a little smarter than I am. And so if God says it's wrong, it's not for me to disagree. So with all due respect to Mayor Peter Buttigieg, I have to wonder where this country's at when a guy stands up. Now listen, I'm not telling you go to hear someone speak and stand up and heckle them. Don't heckle. All right? Don't heckle. But here's a guy screaming Sodom and Gomorrah, which is in the Bible. And he is escorted out while the gay candidate stays up there and continues to speak. I don't want to come across as some kind of Jewish Ayatollah. I really don't. But let's keep things in perspective. You know, pop culture has gone so far in declaring that everything's fine, whatever you want to do is okay, that we need to pull back on the reins a little bit. We need to slow down a little bit. I've said on this show many times, I don't want to discriminate against anybody. I don't want any acts of harassment aimed at anybody. I don't want to take away rights and privileges from anybody. But let's have some sense of perspective. People in the LGBTQ, MICKEYMOUSE, people in that community are broken. They're damaged. Do they have a right to do what they want behind closed doors? I suppose they do. But don't look me in the eye and tell me it's normal. When I can go on YouTube and find videos of gay pride parades, which are absolutely disgusting, don't you tell me that it's normal. When I hear gay men talking about how they go to public toilets and they tap their feet under the walls of the toilet stalls to try and meet men, don't tell me it's normal. Don't technique me. Don't insult my intelligence. Don't try and sell me anything. Well, I need to know what's right and wrong. I consult the Torah. What a better world, what a better country this would be if more people did the same. I know that the Torah is our guide for leading a good and a righteous and a holy life. And righteousness and holiness are good things, even though people tend to roll their eyes these days when you talk about them. Look at the shambles so many people have made of their lives by ignoring what's in the Bible. So Peter Butt-I-Gag can go out in public and he can say what he wants, free speech. But let's keep things in perspective. That's all I'm saying. Get to know what the Bible says. You know, there are a few great authors in the world. Yes, I'm one of them. You read my book, Real Truth, Stay Angry, which you can get online. God is another one. Pretty good writer. I recommend it. When we come back, we're going to listen to some videos. We're going to hear about illegal aliens flooding into this country through Yuma, Arizona. We're going to hear about Russia collusion. We're going to hear about, Peter Butt-I-Gag again. Unavoidable these days. Kamala Harris, all the favorites. When we come back, it's Wednesday. Real Truth. We'll be right back.
Are you staring out the window daydreaming about spring, your lush green yard or backyard barbecue? Well, don't blink. Before you know it, you'll be behind the grass. Don't let the age away from that. Or be that. For skaters, landscaping at 970-460 Turf, or visit our website at turftamerslandscaping.com. We will get your garden stuff. Specializing in maintenance and install commercial and residential properties. We pride ourselves in our clean cut. Visit our website at turftamerslandscaping.com. Our install crew can transform your backyard. The outdoor business space is always frequent. Call me, Brian, at 970-460-TURF for a free walkthrough and estimate for what you need to have the best option for your landscape needs. Family owned and locally operated. We've been serving Northern Colorado for over 18 years. Thank you for your support at 40K.
Before hiring a realtor of a big corporation who outsources their job and pays little to no taxes, ask yourself, what do you really want in a realtor? You need a realtor who's honest and has integrity. A realtor who's focused on the client's bottom line, not the realtor's bottom line. Who provides personal, over-the-top service before, during, and after the transaction. You want a realtor that knows how to market your property. Hi, I'm James Morgan, a realtor with Grisham and Associates LLC. I am your Colorado real estate specialist. Land deals, mountain cabins, or urban dwellings, I I've got you covered. For the first-time home buyer, we will make it the best experience. If you are looking to move up or downsizing, we will do better than your last transaction. Call me today at 720-203-0731 or visit coloradoproperties.online. Let me do a great job for you.
Dallas Gillum right here, KHNC, the heart of Colorado. Stay tuned. Dallas Gillum right here, KHNC.
My friends, let me tell you about a guy named David Horowitz. He's the founder of the Freedom Center. His website, I've quoted from it many times in the past, frontpagemag.com. He was originally a liberal, a hardcore liberal. He was a leftist of the first order. But over time, he saw and he listened and he learned, and he is now a staunch conservative. He recently held the Freedom Center's West Coast retreat in Rancho Palos Verdes. And while he was there, he discussed his discovery during the Vietnam War of the hate and the malice that are endemic to the leftist movement. So here's a guy talking about something he knows up close and personal. Here's David Horowitz. It's interesting. It's interesting because, David, please, I'm the host. It's interesting because I've been telling you a long time the left hates America, which explains why they hate Donald Trump, because Donald Trump represents traditional America. He represents Americans, and because the left hates America and Americans, they hate Donald Trump. It's very, very simple, and it's confirmed here by David Horowitz. Now you can continue. Folks, he's just confirming, David Horowitz says, everything I've always told you about liberals. They're not nice people. They're filled with hatred. They don't like America. They don't like Americans. And in their hearts, they're Nazis. David Horowitz was one of them. He lived it. He knew it. He knows them. So if you've been voting Democrat, wake up, for God's sake.
I'm doing that today.
Thank you, David. You know, I love the fact that he's confirming everything I've said, because now I know I've been right. I mean, I knew before. But now you know that you've been listening to the top shelf of intellectual thought. The Iran deal wasn't a stupid deal. It was a destroy America deal, destroy Israel deal, hammered together by the minions of our Muslim president, Barack Obama. Yes, Muslim president. His father was a Muslim. His stepfather was a Muslim. Patrilineal descent in Islam. If your father's a Muslim, you are a Muslim. When Obama went to madrasas early in his life, you don't get into a madrasa if you're not a Muslim. So let's put that nonsense to bed. I've said many times Barack Obama did a great job as president. People say, Riell, what do you mean? You have to know what his job was. His job was to hurt the West, to hurt America, and even more, to hurt Israel. And that's where the Iran deal came from, and that's exactly what David Horowitz is saying. All right, folks, forgive me for butting in again to pat myself on the back. At least it keeps my shoulders loose. I have said before, and I'll say it again, what Mr. Horowitz just said. The number one problem America has, and it's not a problem we can solve, it's a problem that's going to be here forever, is the low quality of so many of our people. So many Americans simply aren't smart, aren't educated, don't want to be educated. They're apathetic, they're lazy, they don't care. They act purely out of emotion. They don't stop and think. They raise their kids to be like that. So it's the low quality of so many people around the world that is responsible for so much of the grief that we experience. And David Horowitz is right when he says that. Now I know that David Horowitz listens to real truth. Identity politics, affirmative action, is racism. There's no two ways about it. That's obvious. You won't hear it in the media because they'll never say it. But it's obvious. And by the way, I merely mention, I'll just throw this in other countries, when a coup fails, the conspirators behind the coup were put to death. I merely mention it in passing. The Democrats fashioned the Iran deal. The Democrats fought for the Iran deal. The Democrats wanted to save the Iran deal. And the Iran deal is poison for America and our ally, Israel. If you know any Democrats, tell them this. They won't get it. Democrats aren't people who learn. But you have to try at least. You know, it's a maxim in Judaism. It's not up to us whether or not we succeed or fail. We just have to put out the effort. Success or failure is in God's hands. So talk to your friends who are Democrats and teach them. Teach them. Maybe they can learn. Shame them. Hold up a mirror to their liberalism and their Democrat Party and show them what the Democrats are up to, like the Iran deal. Like killing babies a minute before or a minute after they're born. Shame them, and that's how you teach them. We'll be back.
And I'd like to thank all of our customers for doing business with us over the years. Because of you, we are celebrating 20 years in business. So here's to you for allowing us into your cars, offices, homes, computers, iPods, and anything else you tune into us. But most importantly, for doing business with us. We give you the news of the church and comfortable at allamericans.com. The new formulation tunes in every day from 9 to 10 a.m. for economics with S. And we continue to deliver gold and silver right to your door. Privacy, security, time, and most importantly, it's free. To learn more about gold and silver, visit us at allamericans.com. Or simply call today on 951-0592 to place an order. But you do, it's not good. No one in America does what we do. Our health and nutrition profile is a free 1-hour interview with one of our counselors. We look at what you eat, what you drink, exercise, medication, environmental work-in, food you crave, stress, health, history of your family history. Everything that makes you a unique person. No one is exactly like you. Then we will suggest some good things. Maybe you should add something to your diet. Maybe you should eliminate something from your diet. Then we suggest green herb butter supplement your diet. We usually suggest between 2 and 5 things. 60 capsules cost $17.50, but remember, you're not obligated to purchase anything. Call us at 888-765-HERB. That's 888-765-4372 to set your no obligation appointment.
Traffic, bills, participants, apply to the Northwest Traffic. By Brian Anderson, servicing the full Northwest for 14 4 hours north of Denver, 1 hour north of Dallas. Look at traffic.com. Call us 70460-8870. There to be given friendly, approximately 8 hours on the road down in the Northwest. Prices include supply, all here, budget for good. Call about discounts for beds.
My friends, welcome back to Real Truth. Howard Riell, author of Real Truth, Stay Angry, which you will find online. It's a fantastic book. I recommend you read it. It's actually required reading here on Real Truth. Also, as I said yesterday, go to my webpage, howardriell.com, Riell. If you have a group, organization, church, whatever, and you'd like me to come speak, contact me at howardriell@gmail.com. Now, Bernie Sanders, Crazy Uncle Bernie, was on Fox News a few days ago for a town hall meeting. It was a wild and woolly affair. I watched a portion of it. I enjoyed it. Here's Bill O'Reilly weighing in on that town hall meeting.
Bill O'Reilly, and this is the Talking Points memo. Bernie Sanders was on Fox News. All right, so the hell was the town hall meeting for Sanders? Mark Bush was on Fox. Fox News wants to get out of the American Conservative Network niche. Bernie
Well, I'll tell you, Bill. And the answer actually devolves upon the audience. Bernie's going to say what he says. Martha McCallum, Brett Baer are going to ask the logical questions, and Bernie's going to answer them. It's up to us as the audience to weigh those answers, to analyze them, and ask whether or not they make any sense. One question was about free health care. You're going to pay higher, no cost for health care, but taxes will be higher. And I'm thinking to myself, well, wait a second. This is not a savings, it's a trade-off. The health care will be free, and by the way, it will suck. But my taxes will be higher. Well, if I am paying for my health care, then I'm paying for my health care. If I'm simply chipping in more tax money, I'm paying for everybody's health care, everybody who can't afford it. And that's got to be higher than just my own little self's health care. And so it's a losing proposition. Go ahead, Bill. Sorry to interrupt.
We've heard the Bernie Sanders rap. He wants everybody to have a level playing field. He wants Medicare for. He doesn't really care how much it costs. He wants any taxation on the opportunity. But here's the idea. We gave him the opportunity.
Yeah, he's absolutely right. Most people don't think. That's why I said it devolves down to us, the viewers, to analyze what we hear, to think about it. Bernie Sanders has no policies that will work for America. Donald Trump's policies are working. Jobs up, unemployment down, wages up, manufacturing booming, and on and on and on and on and on. That's what the Democrats got. They've got hatred. They've got bile. Bernie and Ocasio-Cortez will go out and scream about socialism, but people know that they are wingnuts. There's nothing up Bernie Sanders' sleeve that's going to help America or anyone on the loony left. Everything they want to do has been tried and has failed. What Donald Trump is doing is succeeding. I trust that voters will recognize that when they go to the polls next time. I certainly hope so for the fate of this country. When we come back, we are going to go to Dick Morris. We're going to talk about the dossier story. The truth is emerging, and it's an ugly truth of a U.S. government turned against the American people. We'll be right back.
You can buy gold just about anywhere in the world for all kinds of different deals. So why do you use the Patriots rating for 20 years of service? Just like that. A-plus rating with benefits, just like that. Over the point, just like that. Middle of the week, just like that. Fine, another company, just like that. For all your gold and silver needs, call the Patriots rating at 800-951-059. Just like that.
Before hiring a realtor from a big corporation who outsources their jobs and pays little to no taxes, ask yourself, what do you really want in a realtor? You need a realtor who's honest and has integrity. A realtor who's focused on the client's bottom line, not the realtor's bottom line. Who provides personable, over-the-top service before, during, and after the transaction. You want a realtor that knows how to market your property. Hi, I'm James Morgan, a realtor with Grisham & Associates, LLC. I am your Colorado real estate specialist. Land deals, mountain cabins, or urban dwellings, I've got you covered. For the first-time home buyer, we will make it the best experience. If you are looking to move up or downsizing, we will do better than your last transaction. Call me today at 720-203-0731 or visit coloradoproperties.online. Let me do a great job for you.
Join us and don't miss the moment of the Alex Jones Show, your number one source for real independent media. Find out what the mainstream media doesn't want you to know. InfoWars is pro-America, pro-family, pro-freedom. We are recruiting 776. Exclusive reports, live coverage, information you won't find anywhere else. Tomorrow's news today. Stay informed by listening to KHNC 1360 AM. The Alex Jones Show on KHNC, the heart of Northern Colorado.
All right, folks, we're back, and I've changed my mind. We're not going to listen to Dick Morris. Forget him. We're going to listen to Laura Ingraham. She had a spot recently, sometime in the last few days, in which she talked about Donald Trump being pro-Americanism, and it's spot on, and it's so important. She says Donald Trump is unapologetically American, and that's one of the fantastic things about him. Hopefully, in the coming years, more people will get clued into the fact that they should be pro-America, that America is not evil, as too many idiots today say, that America is a tremendous force for good. Here's Laura Ingraham. I say, here's Laura Ingraham.
As Democrats tiptoe through the minefields of controversy brought
My friends, what a bitch Barack Obama was and is. He went around for 8 years apologizing where no apologies were really necessary. He dislikes America. He hates Americans. He hates Christians and Jews, even though he pretends to be a Christian. Barack Obama was a disgrace. How much more so the idiots who voted for him not once but twice. And I know some of them. Barack Obama was ashamed of America, despised America. Donald Trump loves America. And that's why America has got to support Donald Trump.
Seeing the better future is exactly what
This is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Think about that. The Democrats, everybody on the left, they didn't care when Ilhan Omar dismissed with a wave of the hand the murders of 3,000 Americans on 9/11. They didn't care about that. They don't care. But when Donald Trump comments on it, then they are all fury. Now, I'm not the one who called Ilhan Omar an anti-Semitic bitch. But I wouldn't take issue with the person who did call her that. She's obviously a Muslim who hates Jews and Christians. She's obviously someone who hates America, which means that the people who voted for her are fools. Granted, a lot of them were Somalis like herself. But I'm assuming the Somalis came to America because America is a great place to be. Well, it's not going to be a great place to be if they keep electing Ilhan Omars. She's a disaster. She's poison. And she's a Democrat, where poison flourishes. Not on this show. We'll take a commercial break. We'll come back and we will wrap it up here on Real Truth.
buys any gun and currently have 400 guns for sale. We also buy, sell, pawn, and trade for gold, silver, musical instruments, knives, archery equipment, quads, side-by-side, points, and a lot more. We buy gun collections and do appraisals, which is smart for insurance purposes, should it claim the rights. We are, according to ATF, Colorado's second highest volume gun dealer, and because we have a lot lower overhead than the big box stores, we can beat the big box stores by $100 per gun. And we have the lowest input rates in Northern Colorado, half of what the corporate stores charge when you're doing it alone. Come and see us at Grandpa's Pawn and Gun. If you love guns, if you love gold, come and see us. Check us out on the web, www.grandfatherpawn.com or 303-772-7952. Grandpa?
Item from the Washington Times. Yuma, a city on the U.S.-Mexico border in Arizona, declared a state of emergency on Tuesday, saying it cannot handle the crush of illegal immigrants that the government's being forced to release onto its streets. Mayor Douglas Nichols warned of mobs of people, quote, roaming the streets looking to satisfy basic human needs, unquote, clashing with citizens looking to protect their own property. It sounds to me, my friends, like Night of the Living Dead. Item from Breitbart. Presidential candidate Andrew Yang, Democrat, on Monday evening, mocked the mainstream media for still insisting that Russia collusion, racism, and sexism got Donald Trump elected, and not understanding that Trump's economic nationalism actually propelled him to the White House. Unquote. Well, the Democrats have a candidate who seems to have a little bit of intelligence. That means his career is almost at an end. Item from Breitbart. South Bend mayor and 2020 Democrat presidential candidate Pete Buttigieg on Tuesday accused President Donald Trump of using, quote, white guy identity politics, unquote, to drive a wedge between working and middle-class Americans, unquote. Well, my friends, Mayor Pete is gay, so I'm guessing he knows a little bit about driving a wedge between two things. Item from Breitbart. 2020 Democrat presidential candidate Senator Kamala Harris wrote the profile of Christine Blasey Ford for Time magazine's annual 100 Most Influential People list, unquote. The fact that this broad, Christine Blasey Ford, made the 100 most influential, it shows just how brain dead the editors at Time magazine are. Christine Blasey Ford was a liar, a fake, a phony, a whiner. She's a national disgrace. Item from Breitbart. Now that their 2-year Russia collusion hoax has been exposed, CNN and MSNBC are hemorrhaging a massive number of viewers. Compared to the same week last year, the far-left CNN has lost a jaw-dropping 47% of its primetime audience and 41% of its total day viewers, unquote. My friends, people are finally cluing in. Also from Breitbart, Kim Jong-un told the leaders of the Communist Workers' Party of Korea last week that 1,000 summits with President Donald Trump, quote, will not be able to move us one iota, unquote. Then made a surprise visit on Tuesday to North Korean Air Force troops, the first military appearance since November, unquote. Well, if Kim Jong-un is saying that 1,000 summits will not get him to denuclearize, I'd say it's time to destroy large portions of North Korea. I mean, the only way they're going to be stopped, he's saying it, the only way they're going to be stopped from developing a nuclear arsenal, which would lead to Armageddon, is if we demolish North Korea. Okay, let's do it. I'm betting he comes around. If he doesn't come around, I'm betting we have a president who's not gun shy. And he'd better not be, because whatever he's going to do to North Korea is better than nuclear Armageddon set off by their desire to use those nuclear weapons. Anyway, thank God Trump is in the White House and not a weenie, an America-hating weenie like Barack Obama. we are about to go off the air, so I will tell you that I will be here tomorrow, 23 hours from right now. We will look at the news, we'll look at the trends, we'll look at the good and the bad and the indifferent. Actually, we're not indifferent about much of anything. I hope you will be here tomorrow. In the meantime, Real Truth, Stay Angry. You'll find it at virtualbookworm.com, Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, Howard Riell signing off.com.